good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
What is your full name?
My full name is Jasnoor Singh.
Where are you from?
I belong to city Jammu, which is located in North India.
Do you work or study?
I am a student. I have recently completed my higher studies in plus 2.
Okay. What are some important features of your hometown?
There are various features of my hometown. One of them is that it is one of the famous historic places in India. It is one of the tourist place where many tourists visits each year. There are various museums and parks in my city.
Okay. Can you describe your house?
Yes, my house is located in 6 acres. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I have a joint family. We all live in that house.
Okay. Let's talk about watches. Do you usually wear a watch?
Yes, I usually wear watch on special occasions, preferably. I used to wear watch when in my childhood, but I had replaced my watch when I bought my first smartphone 2 years ago.
What was the first watch you had?
The very first watch was gifted to me by my father on my birthday. I was probably at that time I was 7 years age. That was my 7th birthday when my father gifted me my first watch. It is a digital watch. It was a Sonata digital watch.
Do you think time is important?
Yes, times play a very important role in person's life because a person who does not manage time always fail in their task. So time management and to use the time properly is very important.
Okay. Why do you think some people like to wear expensive watches?
Some people prefer to wear expensive watches because they consider it as a form of jewelry. They consider to buy expensive watches to represent a brand or to wear. They like wearing branded things.
Have you ever got late for anything?
I have got late for many. I have got late many times. One when I got late was when I was having tuition in the morning. My alarm didn't go off. I was late because of my alarm.
Let's talk about history. Do you like history?
Yes, I do like history. It was one of my favorite subject in my school time.
Did you read history books as a child?
Yes, I used to read history books when I was a child. I had keen interest in history, in knowing of history of old emperors and museums and various other things.
Let's talk about cinema and movies. Do you go to the cinema?
Yes, I often go to cinema with my family and my friends to watch movies.
How often do you go there?
I usually go there on weekends to get entertained.
What types of movies do you like to watch?
I prefer to watch Punjabi movies and Hollywood movies to get entertained.
Has your taste in movies changed with age?
Yes, my taste in movies has changed over time. When I was in my childhood, I used to watch movies, cartoon movies in cinemas, but now I like to watch more action movies in cinemas.
Alright. This is the end of part 1. Now in part 2, I will give you a 2-minute topic and you will have 1 minute to prepare. And then you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. And I can stop you before that as well. Here is your cue card. This is your paper and pencil. While the candidate is preparing for his 2 minutes topic, let's discuss something. Are you preparing for IELTS at your home? Or you are planning to take exams soon but you don't have much time for preparation? I would like to tell you how to improve your score in just a few weeks. Download Cambly to practice IELTS with native speakers, that also one-on-one. Click on this link. Use English Mentor code to get 22% off. So guys, this is a great option for you to prepare for IELTS at home. Let's continue with our speaking test.
May I start? I had many unforgettable experiences in my life when I visited the countryside. The one which I am going to share was last year in summer vacation when me and my family decided to visit my village where my grandparents live. So we decided to hit the road at 9 a.m. in morning, and it took me approximately 8 hours to reach my village. When we reached when we reached the village, I was quite amazed. The scenery was totally different from where I live now. There the place was pollution free. When we reached, we greeted our grandparents. We greeted my grandparents, and then my grandparent took me to the village tour. I g- I go with my grandparent to the village, and we observed the life of the people of the village. I looked at their culture, at the food they eat. We also visited a religious place in my village. We used to wake up early morning when I was living in my village in approximately near 6 a.m., and we used to go for a morning walk. The air was very fresh and neat and clean from the city where I live now. The environment was pollution free. There was no noise of any horn or something like that. The place was quite peaceful and nice. uh, Next day, me and my grandfather visited to the farms where I had seen many the modern farming implements that were there. Many tractors, many implements for farming. The farming in my village had changed over time. In earlier days, it was quite hard task, but now it is very easy due to the modern machines which have been introduced to the rural areas. So this was the experience that I had when I visited the countryside.
All right. Can I have paper pencil back?
Yes, please.
All right. In part 3, let's discuss this topic. What are the advantages of living in the countryside?
There are many advantages of living in countryside. The one advantage of living in countryside is the peaceful environment of the countryside, the pollution free environment, and the noise free environment.
And what are the disadvantages of living in the countryside?
There are some disadvantages too. The one is lack of facilities that are provided in cities. The another one is job opportunities that are not there in countryside.
What kinds of people live in the countryside?
Basically, nowadays we can see old people living in countryside because they want to take a relief from their stressful life. But the youngsters are heading towards the city. Old people prefer to live in countryside
And why youngsters are heading to cities?
to seek for job opportunities or to pursue their higher studies.
What do people living in the countryside like to do?
Basically, people living in countryside prefer farming. This is the one of the most famous occupation done in the countryside.
Okay. How has life changed over the time in the countryside areas?
The life has largely changed in the countryside areas. Now there have been a new development by the government in the countryside areas. The facilities have been started to reach the countryside areas, and various factories have also been built near countryside.
Do you think it is better to live in the countryside or in the city?
Well, this is a quite controversial question whether to live in whether to live in city or countryside. Some people prefer to live in countryside while other go for cities. As I already mentioned, those who want peaceful environment they prefer countryside. But for seeking higher studies and job opportunities, people had to go for cities.
Okay. Do youngsters prefer living in rural areas? If yes, why? If no, why not?
Nowadays, youngsters are heading towards cities, as I already mentioned, for their to make their career more successful, for applying for good jobs in cities that are lacking in countryside areas.
How is the countryside different from town?
Countryside is different from town in various ways. The one most biggest difference that we notice is the less pollution that we see in countryside. The other difference is the towns are more developed and there are more facilities available in towns.
Alright, this is the end of your speaking test. Now I would like to give you your feedback. You're very good. There were only few mistakes. Try to avoid that as well. And for this kind of speaking, you can score 7.28 in real exam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.